You're watching Appalachian Axeworks on YouTube. Alright, welcome to the channel. Haven't made a leather video in a month or two, so I thought I'd throw one together. This is a Plumb, a stickered Plumb hatchet. Nothing, no markings on the head, but you can see the what's left of the Plumb sticker here. It's a nice hatchet. Sometimes with these, when we find them, we leave them intact. So we're going to leave this one intact. We decided not to remove the head or anything. It's got the permabond in the eye, and it's a very solid handle. There's no cracks or anything. So we're going to leave it all original. We did clean the head, sharpen it, gave it a nice sharpened edge. You can see that edge there. It's really sharp. So, and I thought I'd put a little bit of leather with it. So we're going to make a sheath real quick, and we'll show you what we're going to do. So, as always, if you watch any of my past other videos, I always make my patterns out of these manila envelopes. These are used manila envelopes. I don't buy new ones. My wife gets these from her work. They were going to throw them away, so I figured I'd repurpose them. So usually the first thing I do on these is I just trace the head. Doesn't have to be a perfect trace, but give you a general idea the size of the head. And there we go. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make just a simple one-piece fold-over sheath. Once upon a time in the old days, whenever you would buy a hatchet or an axe, you got a sheath from the factory. Those sheaths were not welted sheaths. They were just a fold over or a two-piece sheath, and they would be riveted together, and the rivets basically worked as the welt to keep the axe blade from, or hatchet blade from, chopping through to the other side. Most of the sheaths I make now are welted, but sometimes with like a hatchet like this, so I can keep the price lower when I put it for sale in my Etsy shop, I'm going to make a non-welted sheath, and I'm going to put it together with rivets, sort of like the old school sheaths were. So we're going to show you that right now. Alright, so we have our hatchet traced. Let's see, let's get the beginnings of the sheath here. So we're going to give it about 3/8 inch welt, alright, or 3/8 inch room for rivets. So we're gonna run rivets right across through here. And then on the top, we'll give it about, we want to give it about the double thickness of the leather. So I always use 8 to 9 ounce leather, or between 8 and 10. Usually it's, you know, give or take. So we'll give a little bit of space up here. Alright. And we're going to go straight across here. We'll go straight up. And none of this has to be super precise with these, but as you can tell, I just basically got a right angle there. Now we're going to need to leave a little bit below for rivets, so we're going to go about 3/8 down here. Alright. Let me see. I better do it this way so I can eye it a little better. Now we're going to we want some coverage, so we're going to want the sheath to go, we don't want it to go all the way back to the eye, but we want to cover a good bit of the blade. So we'll take it to right about there. Let's see, let's take this in about, I don't know, what about an inch and a half or so. Alright, and we can run, let's see, we'll take this down. About an inch, and then we can run it like this. Now we can go square like that, or if we want, let's see, maybe we'll do round. Let's take it a little bit deeper. Now that I look at that, it's kind of not too snazzy. Let's add a little bit of space here. Let's go here, and we'll go down about an inch. And then we'll get our, and let's see what we can come up with here. Oops. Let's see. Come up with a little bit of a snazzier looking sheath here. So just like that. So there we go. Here's a little snazzier looking piece. Alright, so now the next step, we'll just we'll cut this bottom one out, and then we'll just fold it over and trace it, and that'll give us a direct duplicate. So just a small cutting board here. So like that. Let me give myself a straight edge. Sorry if you hear some hammering in the background. The work never stops here at Appalachian Axe Works, so my son is downstairs wedging right now, so he's wedging some hatchets. So, all right. All right. I'm going to use my straight edge, get a nice even fold here. Alright, and then we'll trace it. Alright, so let's get rid of this big piece. Alright, there you go. Got a nice little fold over. There you go. Fit right in. Just like that. Alright, so let me pick out a piece of leather and cut it, and we'll show you what we're doing with that next. Alright, so got it cut. This is about 8-9 ounce leather. So I always do the edges. Kind of just gives it that a little extra. I know I see a lot of guys out there that don't do the edge work, but I always do the edge work. So at least on one side, once I fold it and rivet it, then I'll sand it really nicely, and then I'll edge the side once that's done. But one of my things, I always sharpen these before every use. There we go. There we go. And then it's like I said, once I fold it and attach it, then I'll sand it, and then we'll do the edge with the edger. One of the things I've mentioned in past videos is I always sharpen these, and a trick that I learned on, I can't remember, some other YouTube channel, but I take a piece of paracord and I have it screwed to the side of my workbench here, and I just rub the green sharpening rouge on it, and then I just run this each time before I use it. Keeps it nice and sharp. Works really good. It's just a nice helpful thing. So, but alrighty. Alright, so I'm gonna measure for a strap. So one thing you could, if you wanted to, you could go ahead, fold over, rivet it, slide it on, and measure for your strap, or just take you a soft tape measure, and we'll put it right up into there, and then we'll run it around the back. So it looks like I need right around an 8-inch strap. So alright, so I use my strap cutter. This is a craft tool one. This comes from Tandy. These are pretty much all the same. The big thing with these is you just want to keep extra blades and replace this blade frequently so it's not dragging. You make nice smooth cuts. But these are pretty much, there's not a whole lot to these, and as long as you, like I said, as long as you keep the blade sharp, they work pretty good. And there's my strap. So it's a nice, you know, I've cut it a little bit long, probably 8.25 inches, just to give myself a little bit of room. I always round off the ends instead of just square. So just one of these. This is a cheap rounding cutter, but it works really good. Just, you know, all I'm doing is cutting the straps with this. So again, with my edger, this particular hide has kind of got a soft, like it's real kind of a soft feel to it, so it's the edger's dragging a little bit because of that. Normally with a little firmer leather, this slides right through it, but this leather's a little bit soft, but it's still nice though. It's going to come out for a no nonsense simple sheath. It's going to come out pretty nice. So there you go. So to attach this sheath, I'm just going to use silver medium double cap rivets. These are all the major retailers, leather retailers sell these. There's some different levels of quality of these. Tandy sells some that are all steel, and they're nicer than or I shouldn't say all steel. They're like solid steel. These are more like an alloy. And the solid steel ones are a little nicer, but they're almost as expensive as a brass or a copper rivet. So I tend not to buy those when I'm doing just a basic little sheath like this. So these are fairly inexpensive, easy to get, so easy to use. I almost always use the mediums. The large have a really long post. They're harder to set properly. A lot of times with that longer post, they'll kind of fold over or mushroom over when you go to set them. So that's why I kind of avoid the larger ones. And then for the strap, I'll use silver line 24 snaps. I always use line 24. It's easier to set them. The line 20s, for whatever reason, maybe it's just because they're so much smaller, they're harder to set and make them look nice. So I always use line 24. So what I did is I went ahead and took my stitching groover, and I went ahead and ran a line here just to kind of give me an idea where I want to lay out my rivets, and it gives a little extra detail too. Not a necessary step, but just something a little extra. This is a craft tool stitching groover from Tandy, and again, one of the key things with all these cutting tools is to keep a sharp blade. These are replacement blades. They aren't that expensive. They last a good while, but you can tell once once they start dragging, once it gets dull, it'll start dragging. You can sharpen these. Actually, my son can sharpen these for me. He's real good with sharpening. He usually does most of the sharpening for us. But it's kind of a pain to do, and it's just as easy to buy them. They're $3 or $4 new, and so I usually keep a couple of these on hand. So once they start dragging, I just flip them out. So, but yeah, so I got a nice little groove there, as you can see. And then usually I take a cap from a double cap, and I just kind of place it, decide where I want my first rivets to go. So kind of press it in, and then to set my rivets up where I want those to go, I just take a wing divider and, you know, see if I can get it to clear up there. So I take the wing divider and kind of set it so they're evenly spaced and where the rivets end up kind of close to the top, and you can just walk it up. So set it down there at the corner and just walk it right up. Once you get the depth you want or the length you want, just walk it right up, and then got your holes placed. So, and then punch the holes. This is just a standard design rotary punch, but this is a Knipex. I use a lot of Knipex stuff. They really make good stuff. One of the things with the rotary tools, you can buy these and they're really cheap, you know, sometimes, but they usually, if you're trying to punch through thicker leather, they'll collapse right in here and they'll bend. These will not. These are made of some very good metal. So like I said, this is a Knipex brand. They make good quality products. This isn't the best hole punch that I have, but it's the one I use all the time. I have some vintage ones that are really good, but some of them only have 4 holes. Some of the older ones only have 4. This has got all the sizes. So this is the one I use all the time. So, but it's a nice one. I have an Amazon affiliate store. If you're interested in these, you can click the link in our bio and take you to our Amazon store. You can see some of the stuff that we use. These are, I may have gotten this pair actually at Home Depot, but Amazon's got them. They're usually right around $20 for this pair. And you can get some real expensive rotary punches that are $75, $80, $100. And I have a couple pair of more expensive ones, and they don't punch as good as this one does. So this $20 one. So, but I have my spots set here. So we'll just punch out some holes. Punch them out. And you don't want to get your holes too close to the edge, because whenever you set your rivet, you don't want the edge of your rivet right up against the edge of your sheath, because once I get this riveted, now I'm going to take this down and sand it and get it all nice and smooth, and if you're right up against the edge, then you're going to end up hitting and nicking your rivets, and you don't want to do that. So make sure when you lay it out that you're giving yourself plenty of space there. Let's go right up the line here. And the last one. So there you go. Alright, and then usually what I'll do is I'll do one side, and then I'll set the bottom, and then I'll line up the sides and come along and punch the holes through and then set the side. So, alright, so yeah, so I'll go ahead, I'll line the bottom up where I want it. Alright. There we go. And then I'll set this one, and once I get that one set, then I will come along and just punch the rest of the way up. Okay, now when you go to set these, you can set them a couple ways. You can use the little Rivet Setter. These, you can get these pretty much anywhere, but this one probably came from Tandy most likely, or but you can get these anywhere. I don't always use these. A lot of times, especially with something like this, I will just squish this thing straight flat with my vintage ball peen hammer here. It doesn't take a lot. I see some guys will take it and they'll go once, a nice heavy hit one time. It's just how you want to do it. It all works the same way. So there you go. Look, to me, it's got a nice even look. It's flat on both sides. You want to use an anvil of some kind. You don't have to have the fancy Weaver anvil. I do have that anvil, but this just happens to be the one I'm using. This is a cheapy one that I probably got at Harbor Freight, I would imagine, but it works great. I've used it a million times. You don't have to have expensive tools to do this kind of work. So, alright, so what I'll do is I'll punch the holes right up and then we'll set the rest of the rivets. Alright, so I got the holes punched. I went ahead and put the rivets in so they're all lined up nice. Let's set them down. Set them. It's a nice simple sheath. It's not a lot to it. And I might put a little oil or something on it, probably Bickmore or some Obenos or something maybe, or I might just leave it plain and let the natural patina take over. But you can see here, fits nice and snug for the hatchet, and there you go. That's what it's going to look like. So let's get to work and let's get it finished up. And I have a magnetic bar right here that has the tools that I use a lot hanging right on it. So I got a easy place to get them. Just a helpful hint for you there. All right. So what I'm going to need to do, I just need to sand this down, get it nice and smooth, and we'll do the edge, and then we'll put the strap on it, and that'll be it. Here we go. Okay, so far I took it to downstairs to the shop and hit it with the belt sander. Got the edges nice and smooth, and then I took the edger, went ahead and edged it. So. And remember, this is not a super fancy sheath. This is just a real basic sheath. But these are really easy to do. If you're not looking for anything super fancy, you just need something to cover your edge. And that's mainly what this is for. This is to cover your edge, to keep from dinging up your edge. And also, but as sharp as we get ours, you don't want to cut yourself. So that's a good reason why you want to make a simple, easy sheath like this. So let's go ahead and get the strap put on it. So we'll punch us a hole like right here. Alright. Let's see. Let's get this puppy on here. Alright, so it fits pretty good. Let's see, where's the strap gonna want to go? So that looks pretty good, right about there. So you don't want to get it too close to the edge, and it doesn't really matter. Some people like to put their straps way down low, like right here. Some like to put them real high. It's whatever you prefer to do. I usually try to keep them in pretty much the same general area. So right there. And you don't want to get it too close to the edge. I try to leave at least a 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch from the edge to put this rivet in. And then you can just mark your spot there. Alright. There we go. Got our hole. Bring our anvil back in play here. And we're going to use the horn on this one. And again, just going to set it. No fancy setting tool or anything like that. As you can see, it's set really nice. It's sturdy. It ain't going anywhere. Alright. And then we'll put it back on here. And we'll measure to see where we're going to put our snap. And usually what I do is I'll flip it upside down. And I do try to make the strap coming up here, so you look from this direction, the strap will be pretty much even on both sides. So again, I don't want to snap real close to the edge, but I do want to leave a little bit of a tab on the end so you can grab it and unsnap it. Okay, so we will go like right in there for our snap. Okay, take that off. So we got to adjust for a snap hole. Looks good. There we go. Put it back on here. And usually when I go to set to mark the spot for my hole for the back side of the snap, I'm going to go all the way to the far side of that hole. All right, because you want that strap to be snug. You don't want it to be dangling off. All right, so like that. Oop, didn't punch it all the way. There we go. Again with our, back to our anvil here. Got let's see, yep, perfect. There you go. Nice. Alright. Let's see if I got enough room to use the, yep, sure do. There we go. There we go, perfect. Nice. It's not spinning. You don't want these to spin. I know I've seen some guys, he like to leave them spin, but you don't really want it to spin. You want it to be tight. But you can see in there, it's maybe if the camera will focus up. But it's a nice, good, solid there. So, and before you put it together, it's a good idea to snap and unsnap it a couple times. Get that snap working. So that one works good. And then we'll see here, we'll put it back on our there you go. And simple sheath, not hard to make. So just a few short, half an hour to an hour, you can make a pattern and the sheath. And at this point now, if you want to put some Bic more on it or some other kind of neatsfoot oil or leather oil, it'll darken it some, or you can just leave it and let it naturally patina. Now what I'll do is I always slick up the edge, so I will definitely slick up the edge, but the rest of it I might just leave and let it gain a natural patina. But that's it. Alrighty, there you go. That's a Plumb sticker hatchet, and I call it a sticker because it's just got a sticker. It doesn't have any etching on the head, so that's why I call it a sticker hatchet. But it's a nice hatchet. This will be for sale in one of our Etsy shops, and there you go. Thanks for watching the video. That's another sheath making video for you. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share with your friends, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.